Hey guys, welcome back to Inchworm Gardens. Today's February 20th, 2021. I'm here in Tennessee, Zone 7. As you can see, we still have quite a bit of snow and ice on the ground, but we are at the tail end of this crazy weather that almost the entire US has experienced. The next few days it's going to be getting up to the 50s and 60s, and this stuff is slowly starting to melt off, which is nice. It's been a crazy week. We've been totally stuck at home. The roads are completely iced over. It's just pretty wild, and I know a lot of my friends and family in Texas were really hard hit by this storm, so I hope all you guys are recovering and doing well now. Pretty crazy times. Anyway, but spring is almost here. I can feel it in the air. Jax can feel it in the air too. It's exciting. And look, we got some seeds in the ground. We're gonna be planting some more seeds today. So let me first show you the garden covered in snow because it's a cool sight. Let's take a look. I'm not sure how many inches we actually got, but it pretty much covered everything here. Like these garden beds are about 4 inches off the ground and they're completely covered. So it's a cool sight. We don't usually get this much snow down here. But we've been enjoying it. Built some snowmen, had some snowball fights. But yeah, I'm pretty much ready for this to be over. But it's melting off. Like I said, spring is on the way. Soon this whole place will be full of greenery and life. Isn't that right, Jax? Yeah, bud. All right, so let's talk about what we're planting today. So we only have a couple plants to start this week. I'm sticking with my own planting schedule very closely. Next week we're starting our tomatoes, which is very exciting. But here's what we're growing this week. We have eggplant. The variety I'm starting is Chinese string. Never grown eggplant before, but this variety looked fun. So I'm gonna give that a try. And the other plants we're starting, I'm growing 3 different varieties of ground cherry. If you've never grown ground cherry before, highly recommend. Such a fantastic plant, delicious little berries, very productive. So the 3 varieties I'm starting, this just says ground cherry, but it was in the 2020 Baker Creek seed catalog. And I believe it was marketed as the strawberry husk tomato. So that's that one. Now this one is in this year, and this is one of the most popular varieties I've seen around of ground cherries. Aunt Molly's. And then this is a new one for me. A viewer on my YouTube channel mentioned it to me. I'd never heard of it before, so thank you. It's one out of Germany called the Schoenbrunn Gold. So we'll see how that does. All right, so that's it. That's all we're starting this week. So I'm gonna get these planted, and I'm gonna give you a quick update of the seeds that we started last week. All right, let's take a look. All right, here's the peppers we planted last week. Nothing has sprouted yet, but that's totally fine. It usually takes between 7 to 21 days for peppers to sprout, and we're only about 6 days right now. I do have them sitting on this heat mat, so I think that will make a difference and speed things up a bit. All right, and coming on 2 weeks of growth, we have the thyme here and oregano, both very tiny plants, tiny seedlings starting off, but they're growing pretty well. And then also at 2 weeks of growth, we have our kohlrabi and our kale growing really nicely. And this is the moss curled parsley. So it's interesting to see how things grow at different speeds. Now, as you can see, I have 2 plants per cells on these kale and kohlrabi. So that means these guys are actually just about ready to be thinned out. So we're actually going to be removing 1 plant from each one of these cells so they don't get crowded. Thinning out the plants is very important. It's also a very hard part of gardening because, you know, it's a perfectly good plant. You hate to cut one of them out. Another option is you could just separate. You could take this entire cell and separate those 2 plants and have 2 separate plants. But I just don't have enough room for all the different varieties I want to plant. I don't have enough room to keep both of them. So I'm going to go through and thin these seedlings here. And you can eat the thinnings because these are delicious little microgreens. You can totally eat them. I'm going to go through and thin those, but there you go. That's 2 weeks of growth there. And then check this out. This is also just about 2 weeks of growth. This was kind of a last-minute experiment I did, planting radishes inside and some greens here. Again, I have broccoli rapini. This is arugula and Marvel of 4 Seasons lettuce. I'm just going to grow these indoors, keep them under these grow lights, and just have some microgreens for inside the house. So there you go. That's the seed update. All right, that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to join me next week when we start our tomatoes. I'll show you the 15 different varieties that I settled on for this year. You hear those birds chirping? I'm telling you, man, spring's right around the corner. You guys have a great week. See you next time.